Okay, so our group was Madison, Morgan, and Angel. And the name of our person, we named him Tim. And his occupation, he is a social worker. His annual salary is $37,500. His tax rate is 28%, and his debt at the beginning was $26,520. And in savings, we had $1,990. So, whenever we went to our page where we had to consolidate our debt, we had to take the amount of the debt and we had to plug it into a formula where we would take the debt and we would plug it in with his annual interest rate, his monthly interest rate, the number of months that he was paying for, and the monthly payments. We plugged it into the formula to, in the end, get what his monthly payment would be. And
we chose the Huffington Bank.
Yeah, because it had the cheapest interest rate. And after we had filled all that out, we had to make our decisions over what we were going to be able to buy based on how much we made and how much we were in debt.
And then we calculated of what we should spend on it without going over how much we make. And we ended up renting a studio apartment, buying low-cost food for just a female because we didn't have any kids and we weren't married. And then we rented an 8-year-old car. It's a Nissan Altima, and it was only $238 for 36 months, like $234 for each month. And then we paid $120 for unlimited talk and text and data. And then we didn't really choose anything for savings. We were just going to use savings for whatever we needed to pay for our debt.
So, in year 2, we got our information about what was going on in our life. On our job, it says, "Congratulations, you got the promotion. You'll work 10 extra hours a week, but you received a $15,000 pay raise." With what was going on with our family, it says, "It's a boy, congratulations. You have adopted a baby, and the process has costed about $6,000. And it says, if this was your first baby, it will cost $9,000. If you already have a baby, it will cost $6,000. Hopefully you've had that in savings. Don't forget to budget for diapers." So, we had to take the cost, because this was our first child, we had to take the cost of the $9,000 and put that in with our debt and figure out how we were going to get it out of savings and everything else. After we calculated it all up, it took our savings from $11,398 to $2,398. And so we also had to take in consideration childcare now, because we had to decide who was going to watch our child while we were at work and whatnot. And
well, after year 2, we got an update of our job update was, "You're under some heat from your boss. You took a few long lunches and snuck out early on some Fridays. You have to turn it all around or you'll be fired. If you have kids, you threw the best birthday party for $500. And then surprise, you made a website for a friend's company and she paid you $200. Well, then we added the $200 into our savings, and then we paid the $500. And in our savings ended up being $6,592, and we weren't in debt, and we stayed on budget.
okay, so after we did all of our calculations, we decided to use Excel. So right here you can see year 1, where here's our housing, and it was Transportation was $234. Debt loan monthly payment was $495. Our savings, we had $595, and for extras we used $120. And at the bottom you see the total of $2,025. That was our actual, and this is what we projected that it would have been, and then this was the difference. Or we subtracted it. Going on to year 2. Same concept. For our housing, it went up to $900. Groceries went to $488. Transportation was $234. Debt loan monthly payment was $759, and then our extras we used $195. And then moving on to year 3 is when we had to take child care into consideration, and our housing was $900. Groceries was still $488. Transportation was $234. Debt loan monthly payment $756. Savings $149. And then for child care, this time we had to use an extra $300. And then extras we used $665, making our total at the end of our life experience $3,492.50.